Thanks for joining me on episode 515 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I'm Julie Tafalon. I challenge you to invest in yourself and others. Develop your influence and impact the world by using your time, talent, and treasures to live out your calling. Having the ability to communicate and build relationships is vital. And one inspirational way to develop that is to listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend Scott Mater.
Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes we don't pay attention to our money and we don't even realize that our money is holding us back. But our relationship with money is often one of the areas that people set resolutions. One of the most common resolutions that people set is, I'm going to do better with money this year. I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to save more. I'm going to spend less. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world. In today's episode about impacting the world through stewarding your treasures, I talk with you about setting your financial goals for the year, why this one area of your life can affect all of your others, and what to do if you've done this before and it just never worked. As we talk about stewarding your treasures, wouldn't it be great if you could support this podcast and do it without costing yourself an extra dime? Turns out you can. All you have to do is use inspiredstewardship.com/Amazon when you're ready to make a purchase via Amazon, and a small commission will come back to support the show. If you enjoy the show when you're ready to buy from Amazon, just use inspiredstewardship.com/Amazon. When I started working with people as a coach back in 2011, the area that my wife and I started our focus on was around finances. And even though I've added to my business and I coach in other areas and I help people start up their dream business and I help people get more productive and use their time better and I help people develop their leadership and their communication skills, and I've worked in these different areas of coaching and focus, a lot of it still comes back to finances time after time after time. You know, when I'm working with people, I discover that oftentimes one of the things that's holding them back, or one of the areas where they want to grow, is around this area of money and how they use it. And I found that as I've worked with people, that how we relate to money seems to affect all areas of our life. You know, money and time are sort of the two resources that we all end up having to deal with in some way, shape, or form. You know, I've had friends and clients who are very well off and make tremendously large incomes. They still have things that they have challenges when it comes to money. Yeah, the challenges are different. The conversations are different. The mindset issues are different, but they're still there. They don't go away just because they make more. They're still present. And that's kind of interesting. This idea that money affects all areas of our life. It affects how we use time. Because see, if you have more money, if you've managed to get out of debt and free up some of your monetary resources, you often can pay for people to do things that then frees up more of your time. So by actually controlling your money, sometimes you can create more time. By managing your time, you can also sometimes create more money. They're definitely a cyclical thing that fits there. When it comes to your health, well, again, if you can afford to hire a trainer, if you can afford to go to the gym, if you can afford to take the time that it needs to go and do exercising and walk and do all the other things, if you can afford better food, then all of a sudden being healthy is easier as well. See, the truth is our money affects all components of our life. It affects how we deal with everything. And because of that, it's an area where we often end up focusing when we've got challenges, when we need to grow, when we have to set a focus for the year. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes we don't pay attention to our money and we don't even realize that our money is holding us back. But our relationship with money is often one of the areas that people set resolutions. One of the most common resolutions that people set is, I'm going to do better with money this year. I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to save more. I'm going to spend less. These sorts of money-focused goals often show up when people sit down and start talking about the new year, when they're setting their goals for the new year. Because for all of us, we recognize that money impacts us, and we often recognize that the way we're handling money currently isn't the best. It's not working for us. It's causing problems and challenges for us. And so we want to fix it. We want to get it in the right way. And so we set the goal that, I'm going to go on a spending fast, or I'm going to go on a savings binge where I save money this year, or I'm going to do a budget every month this year. But then we run into challenges. We run into things that derail us. You can Google how to do a budget, but it's harder to Google what to do in specific situations, how to deal with the mindset challenges that comes with doing a budget, and what to do when things go wrong, because they inevitably will go wrong. They always do. And we've got to figure out what to do in those situations. So what do you do when it's never worked? What do you do when you've set resolutions before and you've set goals before and you've really worked on this before and you've tried hard? You've done the right things. You've read the right books. You've done the lessons. You've taken the online courses, but it's just not worked. One of the best things you can do is actually work with somebody who's an expert around those areas of mindset and belief and motivation. See, that's one of the reasons that I've begun to coach in other areas than just money, is because I found out that the truth is it's not about the numbers. It's about the mindset. It's about the belief. It's about the things that you do. And sure, there's tools and there's techniques and there's things that you can inject into your system that work better and are probably more efficient than the things that you're using now. But the truth is, those are not what cause you to win. Those things help, but they aren't the key. If you want to learn how to be better at something, one of the best ways to do it is to surround yourself with like-minded people. Either plug yourself into a mastermind, plug yourself into an accountability group, join an organization, more than just take a passive course, more than just sign up for an online course. Actually sit down and work with someone. Hire an individual coach works really well, because now it's not only a like-minded person, but it's a person who's partnering with you on your systems. And so again, I've offered this week on each episode to sit down and have a 30-minute call with me, and I'll try to give you some actionable steps towards taking your resolutions. And if your resolution is to get your money in order, please take advantage of this. And for $1, schedule a 30-minute call with me. And then if we want to continue working together and coach from there, we'll talk about what that would look like. You can do that over at inspiredstewardship.com/New Year. And let's work to make 2020 the best year you've ever had when it comes to your money. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you like this episode on the stewardship of treasures, you can sign up for our treasures tips by going to inspiredstewardship.com/treasures or text in the U.S. 44222 treasures, tips. And we'll send you 5 weeks of our best tips on stewarding your treasures. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.